I have a very devastating story for you today. It's about my husband and his mother and what they tried to do to me. Guys, this story is crazy. My mother-in-law said, let's see how long this lasts, when her son proposed to me and our relationship has not been the same ever since. I hope that I'll not face too much judgment for the situation I've gotten myself into. I know that I should have been smarter, but now I'm sitting here wondering what the hell I've just done. I mean, I do love my baby. He's the sweetest little baby. My husband's wonderful. He's very supportive and makes sure that I get all that I need at all times. He's not the problem at all. The problem is my mother-in-law. I don't know how to tell my husband that I don't feel safe when she's around my baby, and I don't want her to have access to our baby. She is his mother and they're really close. She also hates me because I got pregnant and her son married me. She had other plans for him. She wanted him to remain with her forever, build her a house, and do everything for her. That was not possible, so now she hates me. I found out that he was not planning on getting married until he finished building his mom a house within the first week I met him. We were young then and still very much in love, and we were not even thinking about getting married. I did not think about what he said for 2 years, until I realized that my biological clock was ticking, and I wanted to start a family with him. I talked to him about getting married, and he told me that he was not into the idea. So, I thought I could tell his mom and she could convince him. What a waste of time that was, because she told me that she thought I was asking too much from him. She wanted her son to have a career and make a name for himself. Getting married would tie him down and prevent him from following his dreams. She told me that he was not going to get married soon, and if I wanted to get married, then I better move on to someone else. What she said was very hurtful. I could not believe that she was enabling this. It was all because of her that he felt such a sense of duty to her, that he would not get married without her permission. So, I decided that I should just pick up what I was left off from my dignity and leave him. It was a difficult breakup, and when I found out that he was going to be at our mutual friend's birthday party, I told myself that I would not go. I did not want to break my own little heart, but I found myself going there, and the next thing I knew, I was there and I saw him. We stayed up late talking, and I realized that I loved him still. 2 weeks later, I found out that I was pregnant, and my first thought was my parents were going to kill me. While they gave me as much freedom as I asked for, their rule was this: I should not come home pregnant with no husband. Well, I was 27 at that point. I should not have been afraid of my parents, but the thought of their reaction was so terrifying that I was stressed. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. He realized it and tried to probe me, but I was so silent as I thought of what to do. He was never going to marry me, and my parents were going to disown me. And then he found my pregnancy test, the one that I'd done at the hospital to confirm. I thought he was going to get very mad at me or tell me to get rid of the baby, but he did no such thing. He swooped me up in his arms and twirled me around. He was happy that he was going to be a father. This was very confusing to me because, as far as I knew, he did not want to get married. So why was he suddenly so happy that he was going to be a father? I thought that he was going to tell me that it was over and his mom was right. Over the next days, he was constantly doting me. He was happy that I was pregnant, that all he did was care of me and ask how the baby was doing. And then, to add to my shock, he proposed. He cooked dinner for us and then popped the question. It was a shock, and it was so romantic. I liked it a lot. I have no idea that I've been yearning for this so badly, and the next day, we announced the news to everyone. They were all very happy for us, and we did not tell anyone that we were expecting. We decided to only tell his mom and my mom. My dad did not find out until after we got married, and we planned to have a very quick wedding so that we could hide the fact that I was pregnant. It was not a shame that I was getting married while already pregnant, but I knew that my father was not going to like it. He was a very respected person in the community, and he hated the idea of being the talk of the town. My mother-in-law was not happy after she found out either. When we were left alone together, she told me that she knew that I had trapped him with a child. I began to wonder if it's true if I had subconsciously just fallen pregnant because I felt that there was not much time left for me and I wanted him to marry me. There's no way that I could plan something so diabolical, but the way that she made me doubt myself left me feeling terrible. But my mother told me to ignore her and enjoy my day. So I stayed away from her for the next couple of weeks until my wedding, and after my wedding I moved in with Chez. It was nice to have our little home together, but my mother-in-law was not happy. A couple days after my wedding, she brought some cutlery for me. She told me that this was probably a parting gift for me because once I give birth, everything was going to fall apart. Let us see how long it lasts before he realizes that you're not the woman for him. She would spew this utter poison and just dampen my mood. My pregnancy was smooth, with no hitches. I gave birth to a cute little boy who I named Sky. Because of the eyes that he got from his father, they're just like the sky. Ever since I gave birth, my mother-in-law's never left my house. But to be honest, I hate it when she touches Sky. Ever since I gave birth, my mother-in-law's never left my house. But to be honest, I hate it when she touches Sky. She has a look of disdain when she touches him, and she handles him carelessly and does not care when he cries. She does not treat him like her grandson at all, but when Chez is present, she acts like the doting grandma. I'm scared that she'll do something to my baby because my baby's the reason that we are married. Sometimes I regret getting married and sticking this marriage out. I should cut my losses and run when I saw what his mother was like, but I loved him so much that I stayed. But what about my love for myself? I just feel as if I've lost my self-respect because of the way that she reminds me that I would not be here if I was not pregnant. I like to think that he would have proposed without the pregnancy. But even my delusions reach a point of being unbelievable, and I don't know how to improve the situation. I want to tell my husband that I don't want his mom anywhere near my son because of the way that she acts, but she has him wrapped around her little finger, and he doesn't even know it. It's sad that she can easily control him. I live in constant fear that one day she'll convince him that he does not love me, and he's going to leave me. It seems crazy, but she has a very crazy power over him. It's unhealthy. The umbilical cord has not been cut. Still, I would like some suggestions on how I can get her to stay away from my son. My son cries when she holds him, and he doesn't like her. They say that a baby can sense bad energy, and he can sense her energy all right. Update. 1 year later. It's been a year of hell. I was not exaggerating. My mother-in-law's become a poison that eats away at my marriage, and every day I lose my husband to her. My son is the only one that I feel loves me, and my family lives so far away and they don't know what's going on. If they knew, they would not let me do what I'm thinking of, and I know that I've been married for nearly 2 years, but I want to divorce him. Within the past year, he's changed from a very supportive man that he once was into a selfish man. We're always fighting, which is not good for the baby, and when I ask him to do stuff around the house, he doesn't do it. When he's home, he's on his phone or he's watching TV, and that's on the rare occasion that he's home. I've recently gone back to work so that our money can balance, and he's still giving me the same amount of money to take care of all the bills that he was giving me at the beginning of our marriage. When I tell him that it's not enough, he tells me that he does not have any more. I know where his money goes, and it's toward building a house for his very ungrateful mother. She's not grateful for what he's already doing for her. When he tells me that construction's nearly finished, she tells him that he needs to redo the garage, the roof, or anything else that she does not like. So now thousands of dollars have gone down the drain building her a house that she's not even satisfied with. It's draining financially, which is why I've decided to get a part-time job working as a clerk for a small shop. While the shop is small, their books have not been done in months and they just do not balance. It's been a hard week of working, taking care of the baby, and taking care of chores as well. It's sad that I have to do everything, working myself till I'm so tired that my whole body aches and he doesn't help me. In fact, he just adds to my stress. He does not clean up after himself well, and I cannot believe that wanting to marry him. Ugh, I should have just became a single mother. Raising a kid's stressful, but having an unsupportive partner is even worse. So I'm thinking of the worst case scenario that I should just leave. Update. I cannot believe that he's done this to me. I should not be able to, be alive to give you this update right now. If all had gone to plan, then I would be buried right now. I didn't know how much trouble I was actually in. I didn't know that death was waiting for me not long after I posted the last update. After reading the comments, I decided to talk to my lawyer about filing for divorce. I decided that it's better now than in 5 or 10 years' time. I had some savings that he did not know about, savings that I made sure to always have in case of a rainy day. I vowed that I would not use that money unless a situation of life or death called for it, but I waited too long to use it. I hesitated after talking to my lawyer, and thus I was caught in a situation where I was powerless and nearly lost my life. My husband found the pamphlets that I had about divorce and single parenting, and he was mad. He was fuming and told me that what I was thinking of doing was insane. "You're the one who wanted this marriage, now you want to chicken out and take my child with you?" I didn't know what to say. I tried to tell him that I was not happy, but he didn't want to hear it. He told me that there's no way I was leaving. He loved me too much and he needed me. A long time ago, that would have been enough to sway me, but the way that he'd been treating me for the past few months had rotted my heart. I felt nothing for him, only trapped. I told him to go sleep on the couch that night, and the next few days were silent. He was clearly upset, so he decided to give me the silent treatment. The house was like a crypt, and I was dying on the inside. Then one day, I came home to find a gift and a rose on the table. I opened it up to find my favorite chocolates and a bracelet, and then there was a note that read "Happy Anniversary." I gasped. In all the craziness, I did not realize that it was our anniversary. We'd been together for 2 years now, and they were probably just going to be the last 2 years that I was going with him, because I was set on leaving. He was doing all this to butter me up, acting right just because I was about to leave. I didn't want to find myself in this cold marriage for another year. I left them on the table. When he came back from work, he begged to take me out to dinner, and then he told me that he was taking me for dinner on a boat. It was a sight to behold. The dark water, the fairy lights, the beautiful food. We talked about random things for a while and then our past. It was great. My son was with his grandma and she was supposed to bring him home in the morning, but it was strange for me when she showed up. I asked if everything was okay with my son, and she told me that it was, but she needed to talk to me about something urgent. She was stressed and she looked like she was sweating. I got up and walked with her to the edge of the boat, and she told me that she heard that I wanted to leave her son and she was sorry. She thought that she had been too hard on me and that she was the reason for all of this. I told her it's not her fault, and yes, we're going through a rough patch, but we've not decided yet. And then she said leave him, that's the best choice. Then pushed me into the cold water. I was not prepared, and the dress that I was wearing was suddenly tangling my legs, and I could not swim. I was panicking. My lungs were filling with water, and I was too full. I needed to breathe. Some sort of relief was needed. It was like I was folding into myself. The feeling of drowning is one of the most painful that one can experience. I thought that there was no way I was going to get out alive. The realization set, they planned this. They wanted to get rid of me. I didn't know why. I hoped that they would not touch my son, and I sank into my watery grave. Being close to death is surreal, yes. I saw some things before I passed out. I realized so much that I could not put into words. Then I was choking on water. It came out of my lungs, more and more of it, and I was left with the worst feeling in my throat and water in my eyes. And then I looked up at a stranger who rescued me. It was a woman wearing white. Am I in heaven? No, but you were nearly. You should be careful when standing close to the edge. No, she pushed me, I said, but was interrupted by a cough. My entire body felt terrible. She asked me who. I sat up and checked the direction of the boat, and the boat was there, but there was no one. My mother-in-law and my husband were there, I tried to tell her. She had to believe me. They tried to kill me. She took me to the hospital and then to her place, and I'm just completely okay, and I've been awake for 3 days. I told her my story, and I've not heard from my mother-in-law or my husband. I'm only going to post this when I know that I'm safe, and they cannot find me. So I hope that you're reading this, and I'm safe. Update. I'm still alive and breathing, thank you. I'm just taking a break for a while now. My new friend Kayla has been kind enough to let me stay here for the rest of the week. She's also been my eyes and ears in the community, keeping an eye out if they're looking for me. They've sent out a search for me, but no one's found me yet. They cannot. I'm here after all. I've had some time to think and for my panic to subside. I've come to terms with the fact that I'm safe and they cannot do anything to me. But I know that if I want to make it out of this one alive, I need to be very careful. I need to make sure that they're sent to jail for the longest time, and I've decided that tomorrow night I'm going to get answers. Don't worry, I have precautions in place just in case they get something to me. Well, I'm going to get them to confess to their cruel deeds, and then I'm going to get them arrested. After that, I'll be left alone with my baby and have those two out of my life. I also plan to find out why they did what they did. I know that it was not an accident. She pushed me into that water. I had just a few seconds with my head above the water for me to say and see that we were both standing there watching over me. I relive that night every night when I'm asleep, and I feel like my lungs are full of water once again, and it's slowly killing me. But my friend Kayla has been so good to me. She's a single businesswoman. She had been at the harbor that night because she had just come from a bad date and needed to clear her mind. And then she saw me falling. Did not see much of what was on the boat, and she did not think twice, and she jumped in from her end and was able to rescue me. When she found me, I looked like I was not going to wake up. But she tried, and she could not let me die on her watch. She managed to wake me up, and thus we met. We've been inseparable ever since, and while she's working, I help her with chores and other things at home. She told me that she was once married and is in the process of divorce her husband herself, and she does not have custody of her daughter yet, but she's trying to get it. I asked why she would go on a date if she's married. She told me it's more of a dinner date with her ex and their daughter. It was the only way that he would agree to let her see her. He still tried to get her back, but she refused his advances, thus the bad dinner date. We connected through the experience that we've both shared, and I think that we're going to become very good friends in the future. Updates. I confronted them. On the designated night, I got ready and Kayla drove me to my mother-in-law's house. I knew that they were both going to be there. They always have dinner together on Wednesday. His car in the driveway was the confirmation I needed, and I entered the house without knocking and followed their voices. They were in the middle of laughing in the living room and talking while my son was also seated. I waved at my son, who instantly said, "Mama?" My mother-in-law took one look at me and then started choking. It appeared that she's been eating when I came back from the dead. My husband, on the other hand, stood up immediately and started to pat his mother's back. "Well, when you're done choking, I would like to talk." I smiled, and they acted happy to see me, saying that they were so scared and they thought that I was dead. I saw right through their lies. They did not think that I was dead, they were hoping. That's why they sent an inquiry to my insurance about how they could claim it if I died in a drowning. I knew all that because his email account was on my phone. My phone had survived, surprisingly. There was one time when he lost his phone and I allowed him to use mine. I sat down and allowed him to ask a lot of questions. After they were done, I cut right to the chase. I asked them why they had plotted to kill me. There was silence and they looked at each other with panic looks on their face. "Are you a ghost?" Cowardly, Chez asked. I could see that he was sweating bullets from across the table, and I'm sure that it's a sign of guiltiness. "Why? Is it because ghosts are restless souls that visit those responsible for the death?" I smirked as I looked deep into his eyes, and he was scared and looked like he was about to confess at any second. But then there was his mother. She looked like she was unfazed at all by what was happening, and she told me that there was meatloaf on the stove, if I wanted some of it, and I needed rest. "Someone saw you push me in the water." That got her attention. "I know that you tried to claim insurance." Chez started to say that he was sorry. He said that it was all his mother's idea and he did not want to go through with it. His mom told him to shut up or he would ruin everything. "You're so useless," she said to him. He quit blabbering for a while and just stared at me with a dumbstruck look on his face. I could not believe that I've married a mama's boy, one that would kill his own wife if his mother told him to. We'll let you walk out of here with your child if you drop the matter. Say that she fell in the water by accident. She tried to bargain with me, not knowing that I held all the cards. I refused to do that. I told them what I wanted was the truth. Well, they refused to speak as they knew they would. It's a pity because there's someone who saw you push me in there, and I'm sure there's also CCTV. Wow, that's all I need. I smiled, and it felt so good to watch them squirm like that, like little worms. My mother told me that getting rid of you would be a good idea. I was unhappy in the marriage, and we needed more money to finish building. Every day you annoyed me. Do not look at me like that. You made living in that house hell. All you did was complain, and I realized that marriage was not for me, and then you asked for the divorce, but since we did not sign a prenup and I'm the breadwinner of the family, I knew that you would get half of everything. I told my mother everything, he blurted out. Great, now we're getting somewhere. So, then your mother decided that it's better to get rid of me to get insurance money, right? Yes, so what? You're useless. I never liked you, and that's not a secret. But when you decide to trap my son into a marriage he was not ready for, my dislike for you only grew. Getting rid of what would have been the best thing that ever happened to us. Here, have some meatloaf, dear. We all realized, and the gloves were off, and she still wanted me dead. I walked right into a situation where she could do with me as she pleased. After all, no one knew I was here. No thanks. I'm going to take my son and leave. No, you're not. No one even knows you're here. Yeah, you got the confession, but no one will ever know. My husband dropped the facade of a blubbering fool, and his eyes were cold. He looked like he was hungry for my blood. I looked around at myself for something that could aid me to get out of there, and my heart was thundering as I wondered when Kayla would come in, for I'd already pressed my panic button 30 seconds ago. I was just looking around so that I would seem like I had no escape plan. In actual fact, I was waiting for Kayla and her 2 guards, who immediately came in and swooped to my aid. "Where are you taking us?" they screamed, as they were thrown into the backseat of a car. I waved to Kayla as she drove off. I was tired of them, and it's time that I got justice. I then took my babies in my arm for the first time in a long time, and my heart was jumping with joy as I called someone to come and pick us up so that we could go home. Final update 6 months later. Hey guys, I can't believe that it's been 6 months since my ex-husband and mother-in-law were arrested for attempted murder. Let me explain. Their confessions and Kayla's statement made the whole thing a lot easier. It did not help that they were in the process of claiming insurance even though I've only been dead for 2 weeks. They were convicted of first-degree attempted murder, and both received life in prison. When I heard what they've been sentenced to, I was relieved because it meant that my son and I were safe. They were disowned by their whole family and nobody supported them. My parents took my side and were my rock during these proceedings. After sentencing, I applied for divorce, and since he tried to kill me, he did not have many rights. I got our son and half of his assets, and the rest were frozen. Guess he'll have to get them when he gets out. There's a chance of parole, but only after good behavior and a long time. Seeing those 2 monsters behind bars finally made me realize that I was safe, and they could not hurt me anymore. I just felt so bad for OP. All I can say is thank goodness for Kayla. Let me drop a Kayla comment down below if you want to support Kayla. Let's see those Kayla comments. Guys, I want to know what you would have done if you were in OP's position, because this story, well, this was one of those stories where you're just thinking, what the heck is going on? Yeah, I was feeling like that too. I just want to know what you would have done. So drop your comments down below, guys. If you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you. My name's Mr. Reddito, and we read these dramatic mystery stories every single day. So if you want a part of it, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and click those bell notification icons. I'll see you guys tomorrow, but I just hope you have a great day, and remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.